Caleb wants to go there. After a year of beating the Nico for Heisman drum, I saw the odds come out, and I thought, if I'm Caleb Calhoun, I avoid that like the plague. I'm not having anything to do with that because I beat that drum so hard last year that people will never forget it for 20 years to come. Long after I'm done in this business, Caleb will still be carrying that cross because he said Nico was going to win the Heisman in 2024. So we've got the odds for Nico winning the Heisman, and we're going to play a little hot or cold with that, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. I just want to give you credit, Caleb, for going there.
Oh, I'm going there. And I think Nico Iamaleava is being massively disrespected.
Oh, no. All right. Well, we'll get into it now. Let's do it. And I'll remind you that portions of the program are brought to you by Commercial Bank. Commercial Bank, member FDIC, life made better. CBTN.com. That's CBTN.com. Caleb, bank on it. Nico Iamaleava will be a true Heisman contender in 2025. What say you? By the way,
sorry for the dead silence. I didn't even think about the fact that we have some listeners who don't actually watch me do my antics on the video.
Right. You like watching yourself so much, it makes up for that. So
I love watching myself.
I ever tell you what? Remember Joseph Adai? You remember him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember him.
I told you about my interview with him that I lost control and just started giggling so hard I couldn't stop.
No, why was that?
We were talking about the Madden whenever he played, or college football game whenever he played, and he was like really, really good on the game, like crazy good. And they had him pegged because he had a good NFL career. But I remember I said, I just got that game in this SEC Media Days, and man, you're really highly rated on that and good. And he goes, I know, man, I'm really good. And I said, what's it like when you play with LSU? He goes, oh, man, it's just so funny when I'm playing with myself. Let's go. Let's go. That's the truth. That's the truth.
We had way too much fun with double entendres today.
Yeah. Yes, it was part of his load management, said Travis. All right. My goodness. All right, so let's get to it. It is a bank on it, brought to you by Commercial Bank. Member FDIC, life made better. Nico Iamaleava will be a real Heisman contender. Caleb, should I bank on it or no?
To quote Herbert from Family Guy, hell yeah. Yes. You should absolutely bank on him being a Heisman contender. And I'm going to say these odds disrespect Nico. Yeah, that's right. I'm going there. I'm going to give you the odds. They're good and they're disrespectful.
All right, give me some odds. I'm going to go ahead and state where I stand on Nico right now. I do not think that he's going to be a true Heisman contender. I love his upside. I think he's very good. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback for Tennessee, but I'm not of the mindset that I was last year, which was pretty much alongside you, that he was a perfect fit for Josh Heupel's offense. I don't think he's quite as good as I thought, and I don't think Tennessee's offense is quite as innovative as it was in 2022. So I don't think he's going to be in position to win a Heisman. I'll just go ahead and say that. But give me an idea of his odds compared to other players.
All righty. FanDuel's odds are out, and guess who the Heisman favorite is, Dave?
I do not know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know for a couple more weeks who all's coming back and all that stuff.
So the Heisman favorite is Garrett Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback.
Okay.
50. It makes sense because not only is he returning, but he is loaded with talent around him. One of the SEC teams with returning starter at quarterback. But second on the Heisman list, believe it or not, is Arch Manning.
Okay. That makes sense.
Really? You have wait. Nico's not going to be a serious Heisman contender, but Arch Manning is.
I think he's better than Quinn Ewers.
I think so too. But it is his first year starting, and don't we have to put some value on experience starting to a certain degree after what we saw last year? So there's that.
Boy, not
Now,
when it's Manning. I got to be honest with you. No, I think that changes the rules.
oh, please. Peyton Manning was so much better each year he played at Tennessee. I don't think Peyton Manning was never a Heisman contender until his senior year.
So what makes you think that that doesn't follow any logic? Why don't you think Arch is going to be significantly better in year 2? And if he's significantly better than Quinn Ewers, he's a Heisman candidate, and I think he has more ability.
I don't think Quinn Ewers was anywhere close to a Heisman candidate this year. That's where I'm at. I don't think he belonged anywhere. Like, I think Nico should have been in New York before Quinn Ewers should have been in New York, honestly. So that's where I land on that. Now, Nico is, depending on the sportsbook you go with, is tied with a lot of other people for third best at plus 1,200. And I'm going to go through this list. Cade Klubnik. I think he should be above Cade Klubnik, right? I know he's finished strong at Clemson, but I think Nico's better.
I'm sidestepping coin flip.
Wow. Drew Aller.
I'm not down on Nico. I'm just now realistic about Nico.
Drew Aller at Penn State. Did you watch Drew Aller in that playoff game? If Drew Aller's in New York, then I'll be shocked.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that one.
And then Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, the receiver.
They spread the ball around a lot. I mean, I get it why Jeremiah Smith's on
the list. That's my thought. They spread it around too much, I think, for him to go to New York next year. So,
I mean, look at the season that Jalen Hyatt had, record-setting and all that, but ultimately it was Hendon Hooker who was going to get to New York had it not been for the injury against South Carolina.
And then another player, and I'm going to say disrespected on this list, believe it or not, Lenora Sellers. And I know you hate Shane Beamer, Dave, but the way Lenora Sellers finished the year at South Carolina, Lenora Sellers is plus 1,800. He should be much higher. This list should be 3 deep. The only person who should be ahead of Nico is Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. And then the person who should be tied with him is Lenora Sellers. It should be Garrett Nussmeier, Nico Iamaleava, Lenora Sellers should be the top 3 Heisman contenders. Yeah, I said it. And then Arch Manning should be 4th. All SEC quarterbacks, by the way.
Okay. I just want to dive into this because I think Manning is still a pretty big name in Knoxville. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Manning's a pretty big name.
Okay, yeah, of course it is. All right, so better odds to win the Heisman. I want to put that up on our YouTube poll question. I just want to go simply Arch or Nico. And you say that it's firmly Nico. I believe it's firmly Arch. And I think he would also, being at Texas, it's a good story. This shouldn't be a factor, but he's a Manning. I think there will be some lazy voters that will see that angle and jump on it. I do.
Okay, but I still think Nico should be able to put up way better stats than Arch next year.
Why? They have as good or better talent at Texas. I don't know why you think that.
A second year in the system with Josh Heupel in such a quarterback-friendly system that allows quarterbacks to rack up stats.
It's not like that Arch Manning just sat on the sidelines smoking cancer.
But Josh,
I mean,
okay, but we just said that we've been talking about for 4 years Josh Heupel having an innovative offense, and this offense being so innovative and ahead of the curve, and that's why he was hired, and that's what's part of his profile. He's got his $2 million man at quarterback now, who's returning as a starter. If he comes back next year and isn't a Heisman contender, where'd that money go? If I'm a booster, I'm PO'd. I'm like, I shelled out all this money expecting him to do for Tennessee what you had Hendon Hooker do, and to take it to another level. And you're telling me he can't outperform first-year starters in a pro-style offense in college?
Let me ask you this. What briefly you saw out of Arch? Better mobility, Arch or Nico?
Arch.
Clearly.
Arch is a better quarterback.
Okay, but you just think it's the 1 year. Simple as that?
I think it's the 1 year and the system. I think I can't bring myself to think that the system isn't going to benefit Nico because Tennessee shelled out $2 million to have Nico play in their system.
They're shelling out a lot more now.
Yeah, and then they shelled out more to keep him when we all thought they should let him walk. So at what point do we sit there and say, look, if he's not next year, barring injuries, if he's not, then we got to start saying that Josh Heupel's an overrated offensive coach. Or that Josh Heupel has the worst talent evaluation skills in the history of college football.
All right.
I mean, this is the guy who thought Joe Milton was better than Hendon Hooker. So,
I think that's a real concern. Caleb says bank on it. Nico will be a realistic Heisman finalist. I'm going to go ahead and tell you to bank on it. No, he's not going to be a Heisman finalist. And let's say the number of people that get invited to New York depend on how close the voting is. So they don't have a guy that has no chance looking like a goofball, even though that has happened before. So it could be anywhere from 3 to 5. I don't think that Nico is going to be in that mix. And I'll say bank on it, brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial.
So any other odds come out on the Heisman of anybody else? How many were SEC players, you said, of the top X?
Okay, so the top 2 are SEC players, Garrett Nussmeier and Arch Manning. And then you have Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, and Nico Iamaleava and Jeremiah Smith. Nico's the only SEC player of those. But that's still the top 6. 3 are SEC players. And once you get to the top 7, you had Lenora Sellers. That's 4 SEC players. Once you get to the top 9, you had Julian Stain and Carson Beck. But Carson Beck's not an SEC player anymore. But the real point is that I'll tell you this. Nico was disrespected. Lenora Sellers was massively disrespected. I don't know how anybody could watch Lenora Sellers down the stretch of last season and not think he should be as high as anybody's a Heisman contender. I mean, we kind of forget about it, Dave, but South Carolina played as well as anybody down the stretch of last season, to the point that John Adams thought they belonged in the playoff. And, Lenora Sellers.
Was I not on the show that day? Apparently not, because John Adams thinking that South Carolina should be in the playoffs.
Well, they did finish 9-3, and they beat Clemson on the road.
I know.
I mean, Lenora Sellers was the best quarterback in November. I mean, that's not even a question. Lenora Sellers was the best quarterback in November. So, I mean, I don't understand the lack of faith in Lenora Sellers. I think it's because they lost their bowl game, but the fact that people are still like, the bowl game means something. No, it doesn't.
Oh my gosh, we got to do something about that voice.